Hi, I'm Marlon Ceballos, and in this video I'm going to show you how we can improve or enhance eyes in pictures. I'm going to work with several features of this image. I'm going to work with contrast, I'm going to work with detail, and I'm going to work with color. This is the original image, and this is the final image. As you can see, this image, especially in the eye, has more contrast, more detail, and more colors. Again, this is the original image, and this is the final image. So let's start. This is the original image, and I'm going to open the layers panel. And in the lower part of this panel, we can find this icon. This icon allows us to create new adjustment layer. There are several adjustment layers, so I'm going to click in this icon, and this is the list of different adjustment layers. So I'm going to choose the first option, solid color. This adjustment is very simple, so I'm going to choose this option, and I get a new layer. This is a special layer because it's an adjustment layer. Remember, color field adjustment layer. So when I create this adjustment layer, I get this window, color picker. And in this color picker, I can define a color for this color fill layer adjustment. So in this case, I'm going to choose a green color, for example, this color in this bar. This bar define the hue, and in this area, I can choose the exact color. For example, I'm going to select this color, and I'm going to click the OK button. So again, this is the color fill layer adjustment, and the color of this color fill is green. And again, this is the color fill, and this is the mask. I can select the color fill, or I can select the mask. I know that in this moment, the layers adjustment is selected. But if I click over the mask, I select the mask. Now I'm going to invert the color mask. In this moment, remember, the mask is white. So I can see the color over all image. Then, after select the mask, I'm going to use the shortcut Command I or Control I, and the color mask in this moment is black. Because it's black, the color fill now is hide in all image. So I'm going to create a hole in the mask. That hole in the mask allows to see the color of the color fill in that area. Let me show you. I can use different tools for create the hole, but in this case, maybe the best choice is the brush tool. So I'm going to press the B key in the keyboard, and I'm going to check the size of the brush. In my case, the size of the brush is 180 pixels. I'm going to change this size, for example, to 300 pixels. I'm going to press the Tab key, and now I'm going to use the brush. It's very important to check if the mask is selected, like in this case. And I'm going to start to paint. But before to start to paint, I need to check if this color, the foreground color, is white. This is the foreground color, and this is the background color. Remember, the foreground need be white. Now I'm going to start painting. I'm going to reduce the opacity value, for example, to 15. And continue painting. I have paint enough, and now I'm going to remove that color in the center part of the eye, the pupil. So I'm going to select this tool, elliptical marquee tool, click and drag. I'm going to press the option or Alt key, and I'm going to press the Shift key also. I'm going to release the mouse, and now I'm going to fill that selection with black color. Why black color? Because I need to hide that color, the color fill, in this area. So in this moment, the background color is black, and this is the color that I need. So I'm going to fill this selection with black color, the background color. So I'm going to use the keyboard Command Delete or Command Backspace. If you are confused about this shortcut, you can go to Edit menu and use the Fill command. When you use the Fill command, you get this window, and in this menu, you can select foreground color, background color, and a specific color, black color, 50% gray, and white color. I'm going to close this window pressing the S key or clicking the Cancel button. Now I'm going to remove this selection using the shortcut Command D. Now I'm going to change the color blend. The default color blend is normal, so I'm going to select this arrow and I'm going to select soft light. In fact, overlay is very similar, but the effect of soft light is softer. So I'm going to choose this blend color, soft light, and this is the effect. Now I'm going to add a second adjustment layer. So again, click in this icon and I'm going to select solid color again. Again, this is the new adjustment layer, and I'm going to define the color for this color fill adjustment layer. In this case, I'm going to select a blue hue, maybe this color. Click in OK button, and I'm going to work with the mask. That will be a very similar process that I made with this mask. So I'm going to select this mask. I'm going to invert the color using the shortcut Command I or Control I. And I'm going to paint with white color. Remember, I'm painting over the mask. I'm going to change the size of the brush, maybe 150 pixels. And I'm going to start to painting. Of course, you can be more creative than me. For example, you can make lines, etc. In this case, I'm going to paint in a very simple way. And after finish, I'm going to change again the blend mode, choosing soft light. And I'm going to decrease the opacity value. Maybe you can see that the limits between the different colors is very hard. So I can make softer that limits. Let me show you the mask. So I'm going to press the Option or Alt key, and I'm going to click over the mask. Now I can see only the mask, and I'm going to open the Properties panel. And in the Properties panel, I'm going to work with this value, feather. So I'm going to click and press that triangle and drag until maybe 40 pixels. Now the mask is softer. I'm going to repeat that process with this mask. So I'm going to select the mask. I'm going to open again the Properties panel. I'm going to define maybe again 40 pixels or a close value. And I'm going to check the effect. So I'm going to press again Option key or Alt key and click over the mask. And as you can see, the effect is much better because the limits of the colors is softer. Now I'm going to hide this layer. So I'm going to click in this icon and I'm going to click in this icon for hide this layer. I'm going to select the background layer and I'm going to add a new adjustment layer. That new adjustment layer is levels. After create this adjustment layer, levels, the properties panel is visible. This is that adjustment layer levels, and this is the properties panel. In this area, you can see 3 fields. This field allows to me work with shadows, and this field allows to me work with lights. So I'm going to change this value, maybe 20, and I'm going to change this value too, for example, 225. After change these values, the image has more contrast. I'm going to open the layers panel, and again, I'm going to work with the mask. Again, this is the icon of the adjustment, and this is the icon of the mask. So I'm going to invert the mask color using the shortcut Command I or Control I. I'm going to work with the brush tool. I'm going to change the size of the brush tool, maybe 300 pixels, and I'm going to paint with white color. And as you can see, the contrast in this area is much better. Remember, you can check only the mask. You can press the Option key or Alt key and click on the mask. Of course, you can paint in this mode, and in fact, you can change the color for paint. For example, in this case, I'm painting with white color, but if you press the S key, you can invert this color. Black in foreground color and white and background color. I'm going to press again X key. So I'm going to invert that color. And as you can see, you can edit the mask. I'm going to revert this last edit using the shortcut Command C. I'm going to press the Option key or Alt key and click on the mask. And I'm going to show these layers. Now I want to improve the detail of this area. So I'm going to select the background layer, right click, and I'm going to select this command, Convert to Smart Object. After select this command, as you can see, there are several changes in this former background layer. The first change is the name, and the second change is this icon. It's like a page, and that means that this layer is now an smart object. So I'm going to select Filter menu, Sharpen submenu, and Smart Sharpen command. I'm going to select that command, and I'm going to define these values. 200 for amount, 1,5 for radius, and 10 for reduce noise. Amount means the amount of effect of this filter. Radius defines several things, but mainly define if the effect is realistic or unrealistic. If I change that value, for example, for a very high value like 50, as you can see, the effect becomes very hard and very unrealistic. So I'm going to change again to 1,5. I'm going to click OK button, and we can see the image without this filter applied, and this is the image with that filter applied. As you can see, the detail is much better. You can even change that value. For example, I'm going to double click in this text, Smart Sharpen, that open the same window. And for example, I'm going to change the radius value to 2. And for example, I'm going to change the amount 300. I'm going to press the OK button, and this is the final result. Of course, we can change the color of these layer adjustments. For example, I'm going to double click in this icon and I'm going to change the color, for example, to yellow. I'm going to double click in this icon and I'm going to change the color, for example, to green. I'm going to decrease the opacity value, and this is the final effect. I'm going to press the Option key or Alt key and I'm going to click in this icon. This is the original image, and I'm going to press again Option or Alt key and click in this icon, and this is the final result. Thank you so much for watching this video.